Hello there everybody, how's it going? I hope you're doing very well indeed. This is myself, Matty Tomato, and welcome to what I believe is the best free city building game out there. This is Airport City. This is a desktop game that you can play on your desktop, you can play it on mobile, you can play it in all sorts of devices, and you can link those accounts together as well, which is quite cool. So you can play it on your desktop at one moment and then play it on your mobile the next. But anyway, this is Airport City. This is a free game to play. You don't have to pay for this game, you don't even have to buy it up front. You can access it via Game Insight's website, and I believe this is the best free city building game going. And basically I'm just going to talk about it in a little bit. I'm going to do sort of three stages. I'm going to talk about what the game actually is and how it's played. I'm then going to talk about why it's so good, and then I'm going to compare it to the previous versions that used to exist. There used to be Airport City and then Airport City Free to Fly, which were both Facebook games, and then later on it became Airport City Airline Tycoon, which was initially on Facebook and then went on to mobile devices following the demise of Adobe Flash Player. And now it is now a desktop version that you can play on Game Insight's website, which is great. So, what is the game? Well, essentially, you run an airport and you run planes out of this airport. So it's a little bit like, as it says, it's an airline tycoon. It's a little bit like a tycoon game where you purchase planes and you fly those planes to various destinations, and those flights take a certain amount of time, and then they come back, and then you earn money from those flights. And so in exchange for that money and for the experience points that you also get, you have to be able to pay to run those planes. Now, you don't pay to run the planes with cash, you instead pay in the shape of fuel and passengers. So you need the correct amount of fuel to run that plane, and then you need a certain number of passengers to be able to actually fly that plane. And the bigger the planes that you run, the more fuel that they use, the more passengers that they will be able to hold. And conversely, the longer those flights will take, because they are larger planes, they fly to further destinations. So you gain fuel primarily from a fuel station. You can build a fuel station that produces fuel in exchange for money, so you pay to produce fuel. You can also get bonuses and things like that that allow you to top up your fuel, which is why I'm at 154 of 50 at the moment, because I've been given or won some bonuses that allow me to have more fuel. And you also need passengers, and in order to get passengers, well, basically, as well as running your airports, having your runways and things like that, you also build a city that accompanies it. So you build a little town, as I've got at the moment. It's just a little town, but ultimately, of course, as you progress throughout the game, you end up with a city. You can build lots of shops, you can build lots of houses, and you can see here that these houses here yield passengers that I can collect, which then adds to my passenger tally that I can, of course, then use to fly planes out of the terminal. So you can supplement your income with those flights by building commerces. You can see here these commercial buildings here are yielding a certain amount of money every so often, and you can supplement your income from your planes by building shops and using those to make more money. So that's essentially the core of the game. There's a lot of deeper aspects of the game that I won't go into too much at this moment in time, but essentially you've got runways and things like that. You've got lots of levels within the game. You can see I'm at level 14 at this moment in time, but then each building, certain buildings within the game also have levels. So you can see here this control tower is a level 3, and you can upgrade through the levels, and those upgrades allow you to use larger and more profitable planes as you go through the game. So it's not a city builder in the sense that you can just sit here for 4 hours and build a massive city and then be done with it and start again. That's not how the game works. It's one of those ones that you build up slowly over time, and so if you're perhaps someone who isn't really willing to sit in front of a computer for 4 hours and just play, then you could sort of, you could purchase a couple of planes, you could run a few flights, and then within 15 minutes you could say, right, I've had enough now, and you can come back to it at a later date and you can just pick up where you left off. So you don't have to sit in front of the whole thing for so long, and you can just build it up over time. It's a lovely, really chilled out, really relaxed experience, and it's a lovely looking game. It's nice. It's a lot better than it used to look, certainly. I'll go into that a little bit more shortly, but there's a lot about this game that is really, really, really good, and there's plenty to talk about. So you start off with a tiny little airport, just running tiny little planes, and then of course you build up slowly through time by running flights, by making money off of those flights, by building up a little city over here, and there's other aspects to it that help you along. So you can see on the left-hand side here, there's lots of these little tabs. They are missions. So if you complete those missions, you earn bonus experience, you earn bonus cash. You can also get other bonuses as well. So you can run bonuses such as this one here, which gives me more income from my commercial buildings. So basically I'm getting double money on all my commercial buildings for a certain amount of time, which is kind of cool. And there's lots of other things that go towards the overall experience, and slowly but surely you can build up a massive airport, run lots and lots of planes, kind of like a tycoon, which is what the game used to be called. It used to be called Airline Tycoon. So there's lots of other aspects to this game that are also quite immersive. So, for instance, if you are the type of gamer that does like to sit down and actually play a game for 2 or 3 hours at a time, you know, if I send my flights out, I don't know, I've got all my planes out at the moment, you can see here they're going to take about 20-25 minutes each, some of them a little bit less. You're not sitting here twiddling your thumbs waiting for those planes to come back. There are other things you can do during the flight time that will keep you playing the game. So for instance here, I've just been sat here collecting some of my commerces to boost my income, but there's other things you can do. You can land guest planes, which are basically planes that are AI controlled. There are other planes here, and you can land those, and if you land them you gain bonus experience, you gain bonus money, and you also gain bonuses to either passengers or fuel depending on the type of plane that you land. So you can sit here and land some other planes and churn through those. You can manage the terminal. There's also other things you can do that I haven't actually got to the point yet, but you can do space programs. So you can launch space programs, you can launch rockets, which get you loads and loads of bonuses, which is worth doing as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do. There are a lot of things within the game that you can do, and you have kind of a choice as to whether you want to do that on your own and sit here and play this like a single-player game, or you can also cooperate with other people. So what I mean by cooperate in the sense that it's not actually a multiplayer. You can't have more than one person building the same airport as such. But what you can do is you can have neighbours. So you can have neighbour airports that you can go and visit, and essentially you can exchange gifts. You can send people things that perhaps you don't need, or you can request things from them. You can also visit each other and get some small monetary bonuses. And in general, you can also use people, so you can have other people that you can use for other tasks in the city, so they can send things that will allow you to build other buildings. So there's collectibles that you will need in order to finish those buildings. You can also join an alliance if you want to. You can have an airline alliance, so essentially like a company of multiple pilots, multiple airports, all working together. So there's lots of cooperative gameplay that is possible with this game, although you can quite easily play this game on your own without any help from anybody else, and it is still a very enjoyable experience, as I have done here, because I've only got the 2 neighbours that are the ones that are already in game. I've managed to make it through 14 levels all by myself with absolutely no help from anybody. So it's good like that, and then you have the choice of playing with other people if you so wish. So this game used to be on Facebook, which was an interesting experience because obviously Facebook is extremely limiting in terms of what you can do with the base game. Obviously with Adobe Flash Player there were limits as to what Game Insight could do with a Facebook game. However, they're running this themselves now, so there's lots of cool things that are new to the game that were not in the Facebook version, but also things that have been made so much better. So the core aspect of the whole game is still here, and you still the gameplay in itself hasn't really changed. But one thing that you do notice with this version, of course, is the graphics are a lot better. They're not amazing by any standards, but it is a free game after all. So, but I can zoom right in here, and I can actually look at things quite close up, and I can see, you know, this artwork is actually rather good for some of these buildings here. So there's that, but I think one of the big benefits is that you can have neighbours, as you could on Facebook, except when you played on Facebook you had to add those people as friends on Facebook, which meant that people that you didn't necessarily know would be your neighbours in Airport City, but they could also see all of your stuff that you were posting on your timeline, for example. Now that that has been ditched, and this is on its own website now, there is no need to be friends with anybody. You can simply just add people. So if I go to the neighbours tab here, I can search. So there's certain people here that just pop up randomly, but also each person has a friend code, and you can actually type their friend code in if they share it with you, and you can add them as a neighbour. And you can add random people as well if you want to, and you don't need to share any personal information with those people, which is very, very nice. But there's other things too, so there are other screens now, so there's additional screens that you can use. So for instance, with the Facebook version, you just sent your planes away and that was it. But if I go over to my hangar over here, I can actually sit here and I can watch my plane fly, which is really rather cute. And it's not just this screen either. I can also, turn around, I can have a look at the ground below, I can see in front of it, I can see where it's going. And it's rather cute actually, I really rather like that. You can also jump between your other planes here, so we can see here I've got, it's called an OWL, but it's basically based off a turboprop, and more like a Dash 8 or something like that. And I can watch them fly if I want to, which is kind of nice. I can also go to the shop and I can buy more planes. You can see here that I can also go inside the hangar. And this is my repair shop at the moment, but I can go inside the hangar and I can, if there was a plane in here that needed repairing, I could come in here and make all sorts of customizations to that plane. I've also got a reserve as well, and although I can't demonstrate it here, if I had a plane in here, I could also do all sorts of other customizations. So I can spray paint the plane if I want to as well, which is really nice, and you can spend some coins on some different colours and some different logos, which is really, really rather cool, to say the very least. Other aspects to the game have changed compared to the old Facebook version as well. They have drastically improved the yields from buildings. So the car dealership, for example, that we got here used to be 90 coins every 4 hours. It's now 36 coins every 20 minutes. Of course, I've got a bonus active here, so I'm doubling my money, but it is 36 coins every 20 minutes, which is a vastly improved yield, and actually makes it so that it is a little bit faster than what it used to be on the Facebook game. The Facebook game used to take ages. You used to have to build a city for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, and it'd take ages to make the money that you required for some of the bigger buildings and things like that. But in this case, I don't need to do that. The element of strategy in this game is quite small. However, the biggest thing that you obviously need to bear in mind when you are playing this game is city planning. City planning is important because you need to be able to build a city that adequately supports your airport. So for instance here I've got mansions. So my strategy at the moment is I've got planes. I'm just trying to think about how to show this because I've got all my planes in flight here. Just trying to think. So if I go to the destinations tab here, actually, yeah, if I do this, you can see here that most of the OWL planes here, or the turboprops, their flight duration is about half an hour, 45 minutes for this one, but again, they're mostly half an hour, give or take. I am running mostly OWL planes at this moment in time, so therefore most of my buildings that I have over here yield passengers every 20 minutes. So I've got lots of passengers that are ready to go and ready to collect before my planes return from their flights. So I always have enough passengers to go. And so as you grow your airport and as you go for the bigger planes that have a longer flight time, you of course then want to tailor your buildings to meet those needs. You're going to want buildings that yield more passengers, but obviously have a longer wait time before you can collect. So maybe instead of having 12 passengers every 20 minutes, maybe you'd have 100 passengers every 2 hours, for example, as just one particular example. So you would obviously plan your city accordingly. The other aspect of this game, just quickly before we finish, is that there is also a utilities section over here, which basically you have things like power to monitor. So obviously all these buildings and all this needs power, so you have to manage power units as well. So I've built some wind turbines down here, I've built some power plants. I'm also running a little helicopter, which is kind of nice. You can also run helicopter flights. You can see here that this one is currently broken, and I don't actually have a repair base for this helicopter, so that is as of now, indefinitely broken until I can afford a repair base for it. So that's that's just one of those things. Other cool little nifty aspects of this game, you can have an inventory of items, so you can have an inventory of planes, you can have an inventory of passengers, you can get consumables, you can get maps to fly to special locations. There's also random other collectibles that you need here, so you can see there's lots of parts for aeroplanes there, because your planes can break down, and so you can build a repair base to fix them, and that's something that happens in real life. Planes break down. You also have what's called collectibles, and so you can complete collections and things like that arrive. These items arrive from flights. Some of them come from buildings, and some of them you can send to your friends as well if you've got neighbours. And you can use these to get bonuses, you get extra rewards. And in general, there's just lots of little nifty things to go for. There's a lot of nifty little things, and you're never bored. Even right now, all of my planes are out and about. But I can sit here, I can grab all these collections, I can sort these guest planes out. Tell you what, I'm going to create a massive clog here. Unfortunately, I don't have the runway for the Hawk at this moment in time. And yeah, basically, there's always something to do. So you can sit here and play this game on your own. You can play for 3 or 4 hours if you want to. Equally, you can play with lots of other people and just pop in once every day just for collections and send your planes back out again. So that's what I like about this game. I think it's really flexible, I think it's really chill, it's a really relaxing experience, and to be honest, I've been playing this for maybe a week now, not very long, well, I used to play the old version years ago when it was on Facebook, but this new version I've been playing for about a week, and I honestly love it. I think it's fantastic. And I want to do a playthrough, so I'm going to build another city. I'm not going to build this one. I'm going to build a different city, and basically I will have that city, I'll build it up, we will record, we'll use it as a playthrough, and of course, once I've got that city up and running, if you guys play this game as well, or decide to play this game, then that will be an account that you can add as a neighbour, and we can help each other out. So yeah, for me, this is one of the best free games going. I think this is fantastic. Let me know your thoughts on the game, whether you've played it before, whether you haven't, and if you end up playing the game as a result of this video, let me know what your experience is. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been myself, Matty Tomato. Be sure to subscribe to follow the series, and join me next time for more Airport City and other games here on the Matty Tomato channel. Thanks for watching.